All right, you heard us talking about The Remaining. Now we have the star of the film, Johnny Pacar, on with us. We're going to talk more about that. How are you doing, Johnny?
I'm well. How are you, man?
Oh, I'm so blessed. Thanks for fitting us in. And first off, let's go ahead and get your take on the film. It's got a lot of adjectives. I know we talked to Casey about it. How do you see this film? Is it sci-fi? Is it horror? Is it suspense? I mean, give us a little idea what your thoughts are on the film.
You know, it's a little of all that stuff. You know, I almost would take horror out of it. I would say it's a little, to me, after, seeing it completely, locked picture, I see it more apocalyptic, sort of sci-fi, end of the world, and intense, as opposed to like horror. It's like, it's scary. It'll make you jump. It'll make you freak out. It'll make you question things about your life. And just all around, like, I think it's just one of those really, intense apocalyptic, thrillers, as opposed to, like, I almost think the word thriller goes more than horror. But then again, there are elements of horror for sure that will, like, whoa, it's like just totally freak you out.
When you were looking back at the film now, would you look at it as a Christian film, a faith-based film, a Bible-based film? How do you tie in the religious aspects of it?
I would say faith-based. Okay. Because, me personally, and a lot of will agree that, the big difference between, like, religion and just, say, spirituality, and, Christian and, organized religion's a whole different thing than, somebody that's really spiritual and believes a lot of, like, approaches, faith in a spiritual form. So for me, it was really, faith-based spirituality, like that would encompass it more than, than anything.
The rapture takes place kind of at a wedding. Describe everybody a little bit about who your character is and what's happening to him in the middle of all this.
My character is Tommy. He's the guy that's the fun-loving, camera in the face, recording his friends. Like the guy that's just, likes to bring the party and make everything fun and document it all, throughout. And then when the film opens, he's sort of that guy and that friend. And then as the events start to occur and unravel, like each character is dealing with their own inner, belief and inner, like the situations and conflicts and things like that. So as Tommy progresses, and once he meets a guy named Pastor Shea in the refuge at the church, and really connects with him and sort of begins this whole new sort of inner discovery and becomes this stronger, internally stronger and mentally stronger individual, and sort of change his life and everything that's going on. Once he finds out everything that's going on, it's all, all these circumstances shape each and every, moment and shape these characters so much in all different ways. So that's what I liked about Tommy's sort of progression and character arc. You see this like sort of goofy, fun-loving guy become this, really grounded and, strong individual. So,
are you a Bible believing Christian? Were you real familiar with the rapture and the kind of apocalyptic nature of what's actually in Scripture?
I was familiar, with like, Revelations, and, I wasn't like, I don't know, a ton of all the Scripture, like in the Bible, but, I've always been a spiritual guy, and I was familiar with Revelations, and like I talked to friends and people close to me that are Christians, or even some that aren't, and just about a lot of different elements, and we on set all talked about the different elements, and Alexa Vega's also very spiritual person, so Christian person. So we discovered a lot and had a lot of like time to really dissect and learn from what we were doing, and on set, and she's very knowledgeable with the Bible, and it was, you had little like moments of Bible study. So it was great. It was a great experience.
You had a couple of different projects before this. Zombie Apocalypse and Warehouse 13 were two that jumped out at me of my favorites in that. So was that something you were able to kind of tap in where you've gone through this sort of style approach, or was Casey's approach so different? He started out, he told us, he started out with like the found footage concept, and then he kind of totally changed that. But was his approach to this completely different than some of the stuff that you'd worked on before?
It was, yeah. And initially, when he had talked to me, like right after, I had gotten the role, he was like, a lot of it's going to be found footage, and I had told him that I had taken a film, video, animation, photography course for the 2 years during high school as part of my curriculum, and so I was like, I'm familiar with running camera and shots and angles and all that stuff. So I was like, I can really do a lot of this stuff, which was really exciting to me. And then, so he's like, oh, great. And then, we got there and he just had me document. We just all went out as a group and got to know one another. And a lot of the found footage, stuff, yeah, he kind of changed it, I think, in editing. And, he was like, well, maybe we'll go more, insert found footage here and there, and make it a big part of it, but not as big as it was going to be. But going back to answer your question, his approach was pretty different. With Warehouse 13 and Zombie Apocalypse, the one thing pretty similar was the whole apocalyptic fight for survival. Find shelter, just find a way to survive. So there was that similarity. The two directors approach were a lot different, and with filming, the budget and time frame you have for certain things, like Zombie Apocalypse was aimed to be a TV movie for sci-fi, so it was really fast. We banged that thing out in 3 weeks, I think. Whereas the remaining, we got to we were there 6 weeks, so we had some time and went back for reshoots. But definitely the similarities, I was able to tap into the whole intense sort of end of the world, seek refuge, fight for survival, the strong keep strong kind of mentality. But very, 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 very different shoot for the most part. The remaining was a little more, and there's a lot of the remaining with Tommy too, and all the characters. You really have feelings with characters, and so there was a lot more emotional aspect to the remaining as opposed to Zombie Apocalypse, which was just destroy zombies and stay alive kind of thing.
Casey talked a lot about the ending of the film and how it kind of leaves everybody in kind of an emotional state. Did you come away feeling the same way? Kind of like when the movie's over, then you're kind of left with this sort of almost like a discussion group needs to be required now?
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. Driving home, my girlfriend and I, she had seen it for the first time, and she had read the first script. Things, changed throughout the whole process. But when she saw the movie, we were driving home, and we were just so it was so powerful and had such so much meaning behind it. And it makes you really question, things about your life and your beliefs and, what could be. And it just opens your mind to so many possibilities of just everything, your life and the world, and it just beliefs in God. And it really hits a lot of areas of, where you really think, and you walk away just being kind of in a headspace and thinking about it for quite a while. And another castmate, he said his girlfriend actually had some nightmares after she saw the movie.
Wow.
So yeah, and I've been seeing pictures of some of these screenings in DC and Houston and all that stuff, Atlanta. They've had the pictures, the response that people are experiencing after they walk away from this movie is remarkable. There was a woman in tears, and just there's a guy with his hand up, just hand to God, just it was just really profound images. So, I had seen those before actually seeing the picture, and then when I saw the movie, it was like, wow, now I see how what the reaction is. And but sometimes when you're shooting so much out of content. You're shooting, parts of the end first day. It's like you forget exactly every aspect of the film of where it's going to lie, how it's going to be, how it's going to look, and so walking away from it, it's just you felt so much. You had a lot going on in your mind, and it was a really neat sort of eerie feeling, but beautiful in the same essence.
Johnny Pacar, we're talking about The Remaining. It opens in theaters wide on September the 5th. It is a very intriguing take on the rapture, which occurs, and it really centers on just about 5 or so characters and how their lives are really changed by those events. Johnny, what else do you got going on there? What other projects you got coming up?
I got a film coming out around the same time. It's called Fort McCoy. It's a World War II drama. And it's all based on a true story. That writer and director, her mother was the little girl that's the main character in the film, and she wrote and directed it. And it stars Eric Stoltz and Cameron Manheim and Lindsay Fonseca and myself and Kate Connor and Seymour Cassell is in there. It's a good little cast, and it was another great project to do and another emotionally driven film, and so you can check that out. I believe it's select theaters later this month, and then I believe video on demand DVD is going to be September 23rd, and then I think maybe some television they may have sold it to some cable, like Showtime or something, I don't know. So there's a few avenues where that's coming out, and so yeah, that, and then I'm also a musician, so my band Over the Day has been back and writing some new material and try to make a new record pretty soon.
How do people?
And then onto the next acting gig, just looking for something exciting and something something fresh and new. So grinding away, reading away.
Awesome. Tell everybody how they can connect with you. Should you do all of the social media stuff?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, just my name, at Johnny Pacar. Facebook, there's Johnny Pacar. My music's on there as well, Johnny Pacar Music. So Instagram, same as my Twitter handle, at Johnny Pacar, and so pretty simple to find. And we're all connected, and we're running a contest with The Remaining. The winner actually of the contest, they fly 2 people out, the winner and a guest, to LA, and you get to hang out with us and have lunch. So go to whoisremaining.com, and you can enter to win, and there's all kinds of stuff they have planned for online and social media contests and things like that. So it should be pretty exciting.
Awesome. Well, Johnny, thank you for fitting this in your schedule. It is called The Remaining. Opens wide September the 5th. We'll link to his social media stuff, throw the trailer back up there for you folks so you can see that, and you'll be able to catch that and support another faith-based project, because it's definitely this one's definitely a challenging one. I'm very excited about it. I love the fact we're going to go into some different genre that we really don't see a lot of faith-based films go, and it's exciting. Yeah, I'm sure it's exciting for you to be a part of that.
It's very exciting, and yeah, I will say it's the first that I've ever seen of its kind. So it's definitely hitting something new, which is wonderful. I think Hollywood needs that once in a while, some new approaches to things. So check it out. Yeah, September 5th, and I hope everybody enjoys it.
All right, Johnny Pacar.